we recording?
We are recording,
Okay.
my friend. Dude, Byron.
Yes.
Mr. Gutierrez.
Yes, sir.
How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me again. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you for coming in and recording here with me. And when I record with people that are, super excited like you are, it makes me excited just to be able to sit down and chat it up and talk about soccer. I think the last time we recorded was maybe a year and a half ago?
It was right before last high school soccer season has started.
Yeah.
So probably I guess a year ago.
Just a year ago. And things have changed, right? You're coaching there in Edmond, but now what are you doing? How has life treated you? What are you up to?
And so now I'm at I was in Edmond, and there's a college job that opened up in Moore, Oklahoma, and so I took the head women's soccer job over at Randell University in Moore. I knew something was coming. Thank you.
Dude, congratulations.
Thank you.
How did you hear about that job, or why apply?
That's a great question. And so I wanted to apply just to get experience interviewing for like a college job. And like I was really not, I just want experience. Like, okay, let me see what it's like, not expecting anything. And so that's really why I applied for it. And then I interviewed. I got called back for a second interview. And then they're like, hey, we want to offer you the job. And I was like, wow, I don't know what my wife's going to say.
She's like, I showed up just to practice. They gave me the job, and now you got a serious decision to make.
Yes, yeah. And especially coming from Edmond Memorial on the girls' side, just talented D1, D2, NAIA players, understanding what the mission was at Randell University, like a rebuilding type. And but I took the job due to the fact that I was going to have more time at home with the family during the off season, where I wasn't going to be teaching for 8 hours a day. So I just coach at Randell, and I have a 10-month-old, and so I wanted to be with my baby. And so last high school season was my last season at Edmond Memorial, and then I told Randall, I said, hey, I need to finish this high school season because I've already given them my word, but I'll gladly accept the job. And I did, and we just got done with our first season. So
you're no longer coaching at Edmond Memorial?
Just Randell University.
Wow. And no longer teaching at Edmond Memorial. So just coaching.
Coaching and recruiting.
Coaching and recruiting. Did you make the right choice?
Oh, yes, I did. I did. For myself, I love my job. I love dealing with young adults that are about to head into their careers. I love dealing with recruiting. I like not dealing with parents, Not that, there's pros and cons to everything, and then they're there because they choose to be there. They choose to play soccer, and they know, like, this is what I love to do, And so, they're not, parents aren't paying, some parents are paying for school, but just because the students want to be there. So it's just a different atmosphere, different feel. And our girls are just like, I guess, grinders, like dogs. I think I talked about that before. Like, I was blessed at Memorial to have dogs, but these girls are like, it's soccer's life for sure, and so I love that about them.
So this coming season then will be your first season not as a high school coach.
Yes, that is correct. Very weird.
Is it weird? How many years of high school coaching did you do? I know it was quite a few, right?
7.
7 years?
Yeah, and only one of them was assistant. And so I'd been a head coach since I got out of college, and so it's very weird not to be planning session plans, or, in a month they start practice. So I'll miss that aspect, but
now it's a different type of planning, right?
It is definitely a different type of planning. Now it's like, who am I going to talk to? Who am I recruiting? Where am I going to go to make sure that I think this first year was our foundation, and now it's to build the walls and, like, complete the house. So
how was your first year for the women at Randell?
It was good and bad, the pros and cons. And so we started out with 14 players. and that dropped down to 11 by like the very beginning of the season. And so we went 6-9. We made the regional playoffs for the first time in 2 years, and we finished with 11 players playing. So, and our girls played 16 games, and it was just 11 players.
Really?
Yeah. And so, just because, to be honest, I just didn't know how to recruit. I've had to learn a lot about how to recruit, especially without having athletic scholarships. And so now I'm extremely confident in knowing what type of players to bring in, what type of people to bring in. And they have to know as well, like, we're Randell University. You know, we might not be for you, but there is a place for you here if you want to accept that. And so 6-9, lost in the regional semifinals. And so now it's just to prepare for next season. And I told the girls, like, I promise you we're going to be for real next year.
There's only one way to go, right?
Oh, for sure. And we're our region, so our conference, we play in Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, and Missouri as well. And so understanding what type of players now that we know we have to go up against, we feel very confident. I have my assistant coach as well, Lydia Black. She graduated from Randall, and what we have to do and recruit for the upcoming season for next fall. Yeah.
For people that don't know of Randell University, how would you explain it to them? Because you did mention that there aren't athletic scholarships. So it might be some people, I guess, that you try to recruit. They don't know of Randell University.
Absolutely.
They don't know that they pass it going to Norman from Moore.
Yes.
That it's right before getting to Heyday. That it's just right there. What do you tell people?
So we're Randell University. We're a small private Christian school. We're not for everybody, but we are for somebody. And so we have like 6 different sports. We're accredited. You know, we have all sorts of different degrees. We're just a smaller school that doesn't provide athletic scholarships, so it's based on merit, academic merit. And so, but we're accepting of everybody. So just because we're a small private Christian school doesn't mean you have to be a Christian or whatever it is. Like, this place is for you. And so that's what I tell parents, you know, and if they're interested on hearing that, and, you know, hey, what do you guys do for scholarships? You know, what else do you provide? There's a lot of different.
There's options.
There's options available to them. Our school is not crazy expensive. We do have scholarships, though, based on academic merit that we do offer. There's financial aid. There's Oklahoma Prom. There's so many things. So that's why when I had first started, I was so scared of recruiting because we don't have athletic scholarships. So, you know, you're off the table.
Where do I work with?
Yeah,
you know, give
what
me
do I
something to
work with? But Mario Godinez, he's the men's coach at Randall, have done a really good job of trying to plan together, like, our list of, like, hey, this is what we need to do to recruit, and then just go from there. So
nice. I'm assuming Mario, that's the only coaching gig that he has then as well, right? He isn't doing.
He is doing.
What is Mario doing?
He's not doing high school. I coach a club team in Shawnee, just one U10 club team. Mario has 4 club teams at South Lakes.
Damn.
And he has a lot of help, but he also facilitates that very well. I think, just so I don't talk for him, but I think it's going to calm down a little bit more for next season because he's really wanting to focus on trying to get the men's. They've been really good, and he wants it to continue that way as well. And so I know he's recruiting or focusing on recruiting very hard for the upcoming season as well.
How did the men's season go?
It went good. They they had a change. Coach Cottage was there before, and he had a great program. They make it to nationals every year, and so after he left, we had Coach Stockwell, and so that was a little weird to resign, and then not for him, but like now we're in Randall's at this place, like oh my gosh, we need a coach, so we were able to find Mario, and so he got recruiting late, and so but they still made it to regional playoffs. They lost, unfortunately, just like we did in the semis. And so now I know he's working his butt off just because I talked to him this morning. Like, man, we're gonna go back to the national championship, and that always takes place in Florida. And so that's really what we're working on the men's and women's side. There's pros and cons to the women's and the men's side, where I focus more on having numbers, and he needs to focus more on like extremely good quality of players as well. So different aspects of the recruiting game, if that makes sense, and that's what his focus is on.
And I see that he, and probably yourself as well, has been doing a lot of local recruiting, right?
Oh, absolutely. He has guys from Norman, Oklahoma City, some Harding guys, Westmore. And so a lot of local, because we offer
More local scholarships, probably?
Yeah, local scholarships as well, academically as well, help, with financial aid, Oklahoma Promise, things like that. And I do too. We have a girl from Southmore. For the girl side, it's a little bit different, but I am now starting to try and bring in local players. And so, but our teams are also extremely diverse. Like we have British girls, we had a Brazilian girl, we have girls from like Atoka, which is like 2 hours away. In Sydney, we don't know where that is, but it's in Oklahoma. But he also has internationals from Colombia, Brazil, Switzerland. So it's very diverse, and that's the cool thing about Randall, is that's why it's so accepting, even though like we're extremely diverse, and we have to be diverse to be able to compete against the schools that we play against, because we don't play MACU, but the men's scrimmage them, and we know the MACU reserves, MACU is very diverse.
The reserves team to the number one team in the nation.
I mean, yeah, so they're practicing. So, and we were able to scrimmage them as well. And so just seeing those teams, those really good teams, and like where we're at, okay, like we have a lot of work to do, but we have a little foundation of what we need to do. So,
what do you think has been the biggest learning curve from going to college and high school? Because it's totally different.
Absolutely. For me, in high school, I was really able to focus on the soccer side of things.
Just the soccer, huh?
Just the soccer, which is great, In the college game, I really had to focus on
everything else.
Recruiting, especially on the women's side. Like, I'm Randell University, so I understand I'm not UCO or MACU, and so for me, it's staying consistent with recruiting and keeping up with the recruits. Soccer is great during the fall, and that's a good thing, is that when we do play in the fall, it's soccer. But I also have to recruit. And so that takes a lot of time during the season, having to set plans.
Quarter of the year's for soccer, the 3 quarters of the rest is for recruiting.
Yeah, recruiting. That's been the biggest learning curve for me. Is obviously I understood when I took the job, I had no idea about recruiting. So I've taken a lot of classes about recruiting, been open to meet with recruiting coordinators around the country, just because I really want to be the best that I can be for Randell University. And so, so high school soccer, it's fun. And I'm not saying Randall is not fun. It's fun during the season when you're winning.
But it's a different vibe, isn't it?
It's very different. Very different vibe. Very different vibe in the sense of, in high school, these players are here because they live around here. And so how do I manage all these players that are different in the sense of like, dude, you're just here because you live here.
It's kind of like a national team. You're here because you were born here.
Yeah.
So I got to work with what I have in my area.
Right. Where at Randall, I have the opportunity to bring in players that fit what we're trying to do academically and on the field as well. And so, and again, I have 18 to 22-year-olds that I'm trying to manage, and they have their own lives, and just be understanding, like, they're their own people, but
they're going through things.
They're trying to figure out life, but they're still managing to figure out, I wanted to play soccer at this university. So, if a college coach would know if they coach high school, what I'm talking about. Where high school is like, all right, let's go play.
Yeah.
Like tactically, let's go. Oh, we got, just play. Like just play. Where in colleges,
Can't really get away with it like that, huh?
no, you can't get away with it. No. But when you get to the soccer part in college, that's the most easiest part.
That's the best part for you, right?
That's the easiest and best part. Oh, finally, we're here. We're in season. So, and again, managing only 11 players, physically, mentally, has been good. Just learning experience, and thank God that we finished with 11 players in the season. Nicks and bruises, but no major injuries to our girls, and so that's just a testament of what girls get into. Like, hey, I'm worried about only playing with 11. Well, this is what we did last season to make sure that you don't get hurt. So,
yikes, dude! You must have been stressing with just 11, just 11
every game,
no
every
subs,
every game.
Showing up to play against other colleges. They have maybe 2 teams.
Yeah, and the good thing about Randall is that the teams that are in our conferences have 11 or 12.
Oh, they're probably in the same boat?
They're in the same boat. And so for next season, on the women's side, if I bring in players and they're good quality players with numbers, that's our next step to get past the regional semifinals for next season. So
then, now that you're out of season, you're probably starting your recruiting season, I guess we can call it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What does that look like for you? Like, how do you go about it? I know that there's a lot of, you got to make a lot of connections.
Networking.
A lot of shaking hands, kissing babies kind of thing.
Yep, absolutely. And so networking, just reaching out to coaches, club coaches or high school coaches, and reaching out to players as well. Like, just letting them know, hey, we're interested in you. We really like how you play. I would love to talk to you about what we can offer you at Randell University. Go to a lot of local games and tournaments as well. And so that's a set schedule, though, just because I got to let my wife know.
Yeah.
Where I'm going. And so, this weekend I'll be at the Celtic Cup. So they're playing in Norman because we had talked, because you guys had the coaching.
Yeah.
So we were trying to figure out a date. And so just going from there, and really talking to parents, like, have you heard of Randell University? No. Or if you have, like, I've heard this, and this. Well, let me tell you really what it's about. And so, and then in the off season for the girls, practice is a lot more laid back. We have a lot less practice. I want them focusing on their academic side, and then we'll play some games against our local schools here, like Southern Nazarene or Southwestern Christian University. Just some schools so the girls can stay active, stay fit, stay their mindset like academically, but now is really the fun side of like soccer as well. So.
Dang, sounds like a lot.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I'm talking so much, and I hope I'm not just
No, but this is good. This is good information. Yeah. I mean, I'm curious. I'm genuinely curious. And then I guess it would help if players reached out to you. Like, what advice would you give to players that are looking to get recruited now that you are on the recruitment side? Because, I mean, you played that same role as a high school coach for your high school players to get recruited into college, but now being on the other side of the fence.
Absolutely.
What kind of advice would you give those high school players?
Not just, for Randall, but for them is really focusing on their academic side, like making sure they've taken their ACT, making sure their school, like classes are good as well, like you're passing your classes. You really want high, like GPAs. ACT is extremely important. Once financial aid opens up in December, everyone has to do that, even if you're not going to use loans or you don't have Pell Grants, things like that. Get that done. And then just reaching out as well to coaches like, hey, coach, know what school you're reaching out to. Know how the season has gone for the coaches.
Know what players might be in your position.
What players might be in your position.
What year they might be.
Who's graduating, who's not. Where are their players coming from? So like, is the team just internationals, or is there local talent there? Are there players from? I do a lot of recruiting in Texas as well, Dallas, just because Dallas is a
There's a
hotbed.
plethora of players out there.
And so, do they have Texas players from there? Just understanding. You can do all the homework to make sure that you know, or at least have an idea of what the college is trying to bring in, and what the college is recruiting in. Look at the soccer schedule. Look at the roster. Like, oh wow, they have 11 players. Like, why are people not going there? Like that's questions and that's great questions. Like, I want you to put me on the spot so you can see what I'm trying to do, and what we did. And so, and film. Like, you had to have film. I mean, even for us not offering, like, if I don't know how you play, it's going to be kind of hard to.
There's only one of you, so it's going to be hard for you to see how one person plays.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so, academically, pass your classes, take your ACT, do your financial aid. If you qualify for Oklahoma Promise, do that as well. And then soccer-wise, know the roster, reach out to the coach, know the schedule, and send out film. So,
dang, did you expect this to happen so quickly?
No, I did not. I feel like my whole soccer career has happened extremely quick, And I remember you had asked, like, how long you're gonna be at Edmond Memorial. I was like, until whenever. And so, how long you gonna be at Randell University? Until the next step, I guess. If it means staying there for a good while, then I'll stay there. But I'm always trying to find the next challenge. And this Randell University has been a great challenge for me. And the support system there, like the teachers, the professors, my AD, the other coaches, it is a really good place to feel supported and wanted as well. Not that any other schools haven't, but having that support and, like, you're the man for this job, I want to stay there until, I guess
so something bigger comes, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. And I wanted to take this job because I knew I had to learn so much so fast. And for whatever job comes next, I know I'll be extremely ready because to be fair, there wasn't like people just running to the Randell University head women's job. And so, but I took it knowing I just wanted the experience, and I asked and I received.
The interview experience?
Yeah.
Not the college coaching experience, the interview experience.
The interview experience, and I've gone a lot more than that, and I'm really blessed to be able to do that as well. So
nice. Let me give you.
No, thank you.
Congratulations. Yeah. And you got a good sidekick there with you with Mario, so he's probably doing recruiting for you too. I wouldn't be surprised if Mario says, hey, man, this girl at this school.
Absolutely. Mario has done a great job for me to be able to recruit, especially in the club scene, high school scene. We actually have one commit already, and Mario knows her for a long time, and we're really excited for her to come as well, Oklahoma City kid. And so Mario does a heck of a job putting in the work for Randell, and he knows how I am and what the school is, and so and he doesn't have to do that. So for him to put in that time to even do that is greatly appreciated. And I can't do it on the men's side because they all just reach out to him because they're the men's coach. But I have nothing but good words to say about Mario and supporting somebody without ever having to ask him to
to help. That sounds like Mario
Absolutely. To me. That's Mario, yeah. I hated the guy at first, but I love him now. So.
You hated him now?
Well, he just, Mario loves to talk, and so I'm like...
He's a passionate dude, man.
Very passionate, very loves his Cowboys. I guess he likes Everton too or something like that, but he's passionate about everything he does, and that includes Randell University. The men's side and helping me on the women's side as well. So
Nice. So I guess recruiting then, going to be going to high school games as well.
Yeah, that's so for me. And to be honest, like a lot of the colleges around here do a really good job of going to high school games or recruiting from the high schools. Obviously, if you play club, it helps quite a bit just because of exposure and the level that you're playing at. So what I'm doing and what I'm going to try to take advantage of, and, if college coaches want to do it as well, I know if I bring in local talent on the women's side, that don't necessarily have the opportunity to play club. They're going to play at Randell University. And so my next step is reaching out to coaches to come to their practices. Like, let me come to your practice. And it'll be coaches in Oklahoma City starting out and then expanding that as well. And then going to high school games, reaching out to coaches beforehand, like, hey, what seniors are extremely interested in playing at the next level but just haven't had that opportunity. And just using every resource that I have available to hit as many players as I can, And if a player's not interested, all they had to tell me is, hey, coach, I'm just not interested. Hey, no problem, and that helps me move on to the next one. So for me, my next step in the spring, just take advantage of the local talent here in high schools, small schools, big schools, to really get in touch with the networking that I've been able to build with the high school coaches, from all the times I've coached with or against. So,
Nice. We said high school. This high school season is going to be pretty interesting due to the redistricting.
Yeah, I know.
What did you think about it?
Let me see if I can pull up the districts, if that's okay.
Yeah, if you can't, then I should.
I got it right here.
Should have had it pulled up.
I have it saved right here, and so I can the redistricting. And so, I love it. I enjoy the private schools going up if they've won or have been in the finals, and that helps a public school go down if they haven't been successful. And so I think it makes the districts a little bit more competitive. And I'm truly excited, on the women's side, because I watched the girls. I'm trying to scout girls. I'm really excited to see just how those private schools do at the higher classes. But at the end of the day, I still think, like, those public schools at 5A, 6A level are going to still be, like,
pretty solid.
On the men's side, Santa Fe South is probably going to win 5A again.
Think so?
Yeah,
Probably.
I think so. And so 6A, though.
It's a toss-up.
6A every year on the men's side or the boys' side is absolutely.
Who ended up taking it last year? If I remember, was it Booker T. Washington that took
I think
6A?
so. And I really can't remember, too well with that. But it doesn't matter because there might be a new.
Could be anybody.
It could be anybody. And 6A on the boys' side, it literally could be anybody.
But for the girls' side?
For the girls' side, so
Norman
North made it to the finals last year, and they lost to Jinx. So they were like the New England Patriots.
Jinx was the one that won it because the boys and the women's Jinx teams won it.
I think you're right. I think it was the men's, the boys and girls, yeah. And so Norman North reminded me. They spanked us in the first round when I was or second round when I was at Edmond Memorial last year. I'm like, oh, they're gonna win it, and then they didn't. They lost to Jinx, which was shocking because it reminds me of the Patriots when they made it to the Super Bowl. And their one loss was unfortunately in the championship. Yeah, for sure. And so
Norman North had a player that kept getting brought up. What was her name?
Nerissa Fultz.
Was it? I think so.
Yeah, this is her senior year.
I heard a lot of. This is going to be her senior year coming up.
She's committed to University of Arizona.
Oh wow! So
yeah,
stud then, huh?
Yeah, that team just has studs everywhere.
Yeah, a bunch of D1 players coming out of it.
It's just D1, D2. Down the street. Yeah, Celtics down the street. But, I don't know.
What can you do, huh?
Yeah, what can you do? And so how do I know these players? Obviously, I've coached against them. But we've had the Oklahoma versus Kansas All-Star game in the summer. And that was started.
What is that?
So what that is literally the whole concept is just finding the best female Oklahoma players versus the best Kansas players. And the first year went bad. Oklahoma lost 11-0.
Wow.
Yeah, to Kansas. But it was the first year. And so the guys that started it was a Friends University head women's coach there and the prior head coach, Coach Emery. And so we had some players that went to go play their first year, and they were part of that 11-0 loss. And I told them, I'll help you find players because I'm I can't send the players again to lose.
Yeah.
And so,
and there's such quality players here. I think it's kind of unfathomable how we were able to lose 11-0.
Yeah, the first year, and so the second year came around, and this happens in the summer, so like July.
Just right after the season, maybe a month after the season.
Month after the season, everyone, rest, and then one game. And so we went over to Kansas. And so how do we find players?
And it's just for girls?
It's just for girls. I mean, if men's wants to start it, they're more than welcome to. And so what we did, so Pryor is in like Tulsa, like a little bit past Tulsa. So what Coach was trying to do was find players on the east side. He was responsible for the east side players based on accolades in high school and club. And then I was responsible for the west side players based on accolades in high school and in club. And so we had a really solid team. So Narissa Foltz was there.
Was it Reese Roberts was there?
Reese Roberts
from Bishop.
From Bishop went over to Oklahoma City. We had some Norman players. We had some Edmond Memorial players on the west side. Then they had the east side. You had some Jenks players, some Union players, and smaller schools as well that were able to represent, like Heritage Hall in 3A on the girls' side.
It's like picking and choosing from the All-State game, right?
I think it's even better because it was open to any class.
Yeah. So you're getting 3A to 6A.
3A to 6A, and then freshman to senior. So we had freshman players. We had a freshman player from Norman, Avery Rainey. She was a freshman that got to play with some of these seniors, and she's like a legit player. She started for Norman High School, and she starts for her club as well.
For her ECNL club.
Yeah. And so the game went 1-1, and so Presley Boyd from Norman North hit the game-tying shot. We weren't ready to are we just gonna end in a tie, or are we gonna?
It was not set in stone. Like if where's the
tie?
It
was not. No, because it's a game that
just got thrown in there.
Yeah, we're just making it up. And the coach at Friends University, I think Coach Dobson, does a really good job of taking care of the players. Like they keep their jerseys. They don't have to pay to go. They just have to find a ride up there. The stream gets the stream is live, so people can watch it. And so so going back to Presley hitting the game tying shot, we all kind of got together. And we're like, are we gonna
now what?
We're gonna pick a winner or loser,
penalty kicks or something.
And so we went to PKs, and unfortunately we lost. Kansas had 2 D1 goalkeepers.
No way.
Yeah, they had like 3 keepers. One was going somewhere too, but these other 2 were like
D1,
like they could fly. And so anyways, that's the Oklahoma versus Kansas All-Star game, and we're gonna do it next year over at Friends University. And so just for players that are interested, please reach out as well.
Where can they reach out?
I can Twitter. There's an Oklahoma versus Kansas All-Star Twitter, and Oklahoma versus Kansas Instagram as well. And so, we just had a lot of players missing as well that could have played, but other things came up. It's the summer.
Yeah.
That we're excited to hopefully have for this year's game. We had some Edmond North players. Like I knew I coached against Riley McClanahan, and she's a stud player, but she's also plays at Solar, so she's playing for ECNL championships and so but it's open to anybody. And so we just, again, it's just based on accolades, what you're doing in high school and then what you're doing in club, if that counts. But if you're like just a stud high school player, you're not playing club, that's gonna be good too, and so we took about 22, 23 players.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, east and west side. Yeah. It was so good, man. And I just use it as recruiting as well.
Yeah, so, that's what I was gonna say. Another recruiting program.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is going to be your 3rd year going into the Kansas Oklahoma, or is this?
So the first year had talked to Coach, and then last year was my first full I'm on the sideline helping coach, and then this will be my 2nd year, but the 3rd year of the game as well. Yeah.
Wow, that's such a great idea.
Yeah, I loved it, and I always try to get myself into something, and I'm like, please let me help.
Sounds like a challenge.
Yeah,
I can do that.
Yeah, let me help you find some players, and so it's good. And at the end of the day, these girls are playing for pride.
Yeah.
They're not playing, high school. Mm-hmm. They're playing for pride to represent not only their clubs, but their high schools as well. Their state. And so we want to make the game bigger and better. And so we'll find ways to try and make it bigger and better as well.
I think that's such a great idea because it's like a level up from the All-State game.
It's a level. Yeah. I think with the All-State game, you can only choose 2 seniors. If you have a goalkeeper, you have
you get a third option.
You get a third option.
It limits you because there's some teams out there that could put 4 players in there, 5 players.
Absolutely. Just Edmond Memorial. The Edmond schools, Norman schools, Moore schools. They have seniors everywhere. But this is like, okay, what have you done? What can you do? And you'll get chosen. For it. Whether you're a freshman or a senior.
They might have to start hosting tryouts.
Might have to. I don't know how we're going to do that, but it was talked about. Mm-hmm. But because the game the first time didn't go so well, we didn't have that.
Like a base foundation.
A base foundation. And so when we started reaching out to the players and they start seeing their names on Instagram and Twitter, what high school, what club, and then the game ended up being a really fun game. Mm-hmm. Maybe next year is something where we can kind of
promote it a little bit.
Promote it even better, or possibly with tryouts. And the coach on the east side, he's a high school coach. He's been at Pryor for I think 20 plus years, and he's doing it on his free time too. It's literally we don't make any money. Like, it's literally free. The girls are going for free, and so everyone on that mission to just play or coach the game because they love the game and they love their state and they love their high schools that they're representing and their clubs as well. Mm-hmm. And man, you can't beat that, man.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely there's room to do a lot with that. And
absolutely,
it makes me wonder, dude, when that time comes, just hit us up so we can try to.
Oh, okay, yeah, absolutely.
Do something with the football factory with that. That would be great. Just start promoting that way early because I feel like I don't see it until maybe 2 weeks out, and
yeah, it's hard. It's
hard.
It's hard. Absolutely. You guys are doing a lot, and so
no, but for you guys, you guys have so much on your plate. Just even adding the promotional side to it, but it's such a good project that I think
it can get bigger.
Definitely,
and we're hoping that the game will take in Oklahoma very soon, whether it be. Maybe not next year, but the years after.
Why aren't the games played in Oklahoma? That's because it started in Kansas. So
it started in Kansas, and the coach over at Friends University just does a really good job of being able to find sponsors and doing everything. And so I know Coach Emery and I don't really want that responsibility.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot, right now. And so we're hoping if the game goes good next year, really good, that we're going to kind of sit down and figure out
how to make it better,
but within our state as well.
Maybe a home and away game?
A home and away,
two-leg game?
Two-leg, it's in the talks. It's in the talks to really figure out if we have so many players, okay, well, let's
maybe have a tryout.
So
maybe we have to start charging people for tryouts so we can actually give back to the players that actually make it.
It's open to
possibilities are endless, right?
Very, very endless, and so we're just excited to see where it goes. And it's just one game. Maybe we could make 2, but.
And maybe have a men's boys team.
Oh my God,
that'd be crazy to see.
That'd be dope. Yeah, absolutely. I didn't realize that there's also I just heard about it this past weekend, but there's like a little South Oklahoma versus North Texas All-Star game as well.
Is it really?
Yeah.
South Oklahoma against North Texas. Mm-hmm. What is that? What is that?
It's sponsored by FCA, so Fellowship of Christian Athletes.
Okay.
And it's I don't know anything about it. Besides that, there's a game. And that's not the only sport that they do. They do different sports. But I just kind of want to see how they do things. And that happens a little bit after high school season, way before our game. So I just kind of want to see. And I think it happens somewhere around Lawton. So
interesting.
Just things.
I've never heard of that.
I've never heard of it. And it's in their 3rd year. But recruiting and just talking to parents hey, have you heard about – I've never heard. Yeah, she's like, they, my daughter played last year. And I'm like, I will be there, and
that's
so
cool.
Very cool. And so, again, it's to do it for the kids.
Yeah.
There's no again, I'm not making any money. I mean, I do get a cool shirt, which is, as a coach, but like it's just
it's an experience.
It's an experience to grow the game, to enjoy the game, to coach extremely talented players,
to make some connections.
It's all good, man. And so, like you said, just trying to see what we can build upon that as well. So, which took you away from the high school season a little bit, but
but that's great.
It is a high school event, and so going back to the high school season, you had asked. Like I think the private schools, should go up if they're like just winning state championships every year in and out, and then those teams that do struggle in bigger classes, due to the fact because there's just so many kids that go there.
Some of these teams get bumped up without, even if they didn't have a good season.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's some of those decisions are just out of their hands. It might not even have to do with soccer, but like
correct.
Bam! I know Bishop McGuinness might have got shocked when they got bumped up to 6A.
They're probably shocked. Yeah.
It's like, what the heck? But that's just the way the cookie crumbles. And then people are asking, well, why isn't the Santa Fe going up to 6A? Well, maybe they don't have the players for it. They don't have the number. There's what all goes into that kind of stuff.
I'm not exactly sure. So I know it goes through the OSSAA. There is rules on not necessarily like how you can get bumped up and how you can get bumped down. Not necessarily why the school, but just, this is
a lot of factors.
A lot of factors in there. But I think it's headed into the right direction. I've always been an advocate for promotion relegation. And so even though this is not necessarily the same, but hey, if you're winning a lot,
it evens out the playing field a little bit.
Just a little bit more, especially for it's for the kids, right? Like, I mean, I had to coach against some Oklahoma City schools that are very competitive, but they don't need to be in 6A or they don't need to be in 5A
or in 3A.
Yeah, like, no, y'all should be playing up or y'all should be playing down. And so, if, like you said, it evens out the playing field. I think it makes the games a lot more exciting, a lot more competitive, and the kids can look forward to not just getting obliterated or just obliterating the opponents, So I'm very excited to see how the spring season goes, watching it as a college coach and not coaching it. But it should be a great season, to be honest with you. Like, I'm on the girls' side, I'm on the girls' side, so I'm super stoked to see how 3A to 6A looks, So we'll see. 5A, I think Holland Hall moved up.
Yeah, I think so.
Holland Hall.
4A. Let's find out. So we got 4A. You said 5A.
So 5A, the team, like the private teams that got moved up.
Heritage Hall, Holland Hall.
Yeah, Holland Hall. So the Holland Hall on the girls' side won the 4A state championship. The head coach there has like 13 state championships, actually, like something like that. And so to move, but if they do good the next 2 years, they're getting bumped up.
Think so?
I mean, I think so. We actually didn't get to play Holland Hall last year for Edmond Memorial, but we went to the tournament and we were able to watch them. I mean, they're a good, solid squad, but like Choctaw moved down to 5A from 6A, and again, that's men's and women's. And so Pryor is also in 5A. So a lot of East Side schools. I think it'll come down to some East Side schools on the women's side, but I already told you on the boys' side is going to be Santa Fe South. So 4A, Heritage Hall moved up. I think Heritage Hall is going to, on the girls' side, they'll
still be pretty competitive.
Yeah, they're going to be good. And we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, class in SAS down to 3A. I was talking to the class in SAS coach. They're kind of looking forward to that. So
they were
in 4A.
Gotcha.
And they just missed out of, I think they either made playoffs or just missed out on playoffs.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's going to be an interesting season. It's always my favorite time of the year when high school season comes around.
Yeah, I'm glad to be able to spectate it
on the sidelines.
On the side, like, because I loved high school. I loved the high school I coached at, but I'm always interested on how the state goes, and so I'm super excited to see how oh, I can see everybody. I can see everybody. And again, on the girls' side, I think Norman North can take it if they can get over the hump, because they've lost 2 state championship games in a row. Mm-hmm. And so maybe the third time's a charm. So
maybe. How's your headspace with all the soccer that you have going on and the family that you have at home? I know that you said now going into college, it's given you a lot more time, but I feel like working in college, it's maybe taking up more mental space than the actual physical space that you have to physically be out there doing things, since you're now doing recruiting, more shaking hands, kissing babies, like I said.
Absolutely.
Like, how has that all been for you? And is it better now? Has it worked out better for you? I think you said that you did, because you're spending more time at home, which is ultimately the most important part. But
absolutely,
those college days they're long.
During the season,
2 days, try a preseason.
They're long during the season, and we travel, and we travel often, and we're driving. So it's not like we get charter buses or like it's us driving. So during the season, if I have a day off, I make our girls take a day off. Like, hey, no Monday practices. I don't want to see you Monday. Go do whatever you got to do. And so I do whatever I got to do as well. And so the days that I am home during the season, I'm at home. Maybe I have to get something ready, but, for the upcoming games, we're traveling, food, all those things. But when I'm at home, I try to be very intentional.
Yeah.
At home, unplugged from the college scene.
10-month-old.
I have a 10-month-old, so she's attention seeking. But I also have a 15-year-old, and she plays basketball, and she's on the varsity team. So I had to be extremely intentional about my family when or during season. Because Randall's a small Christian school as well, so they kind of expect that as well. And but I expect that from myself as a Christian as well, to put my family first. For me is God first, my faith, and then my family as well. And then during off season, my wife has helped me, but my wife's like, you need to schedule your things out. You can't just keep doing last minute calls and things like that. And so we set up a system, or we didn't set up a system, but I got a system, Calendly. So like if I need to talk to a recruit, here's a link. And so it helps me, and I manage my own time. My wife helps me manage their own time. Are we busy this day? And so I'm good without having to worry about, oh, did I miss this email? Yeah. Did I miss this call? Oh, I need to set up this time. No, the app helps me facilitate my time away from school when I have to work on school, but gives me my time with my family intentionally all the time. So, yeah. So, scheduling. Scheduling has been huge. Learning how to schedule. Where high school is like, oh, we play Tuesdays and Fridays, and then we have some, JV games Monday and Thursdays. Where college is like, we could be playing on Sunday and then playing on Wednesday and then playing on Friday. So, yeah. and then in those days I had to recruit, like talk to parents, talk to players. So it could be extremely overwhelming. But thank God that my wife has been very understanding, and she's way smarter than I am. And to manage, let's figure out what you can use to manage your time wisely. So, dang.
Are you picking any other college coaches' brains to figure out how they are going about this?
Yes, that's a great question.
And if so, who?
That's a great question. I literally reached out to Billy Martin over at Oklahoma City University, because they're doing an event for college-age girls to work with colleges. I'm like, hey, is it okay if I come to your school and scout? And he's more than willing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach Bo at Redlands. A lot of the junior colleges, I try to work. Coach Hill over at Seminole State. Coach Riley over at Rose State.
I just met the coach of NOC. Young guy. Yeah, Cesar. Yeah, he was at our coaching event as well, and he was kind of going over a lot of the things that you're saying now. And he talked majority of it, of the recruiting side of it, just how such a curve that is.
That's the game.
That's the game in college.
That's the game. If you recruit good soccer players,
you're gonna have a good season.
You're more likely to have a good season, and you don't have to worry about necessarily teaching. In high school, I felt like well, we have really good players, but you have so many players, or at least I did. We had to figure out
Your pool is already there. There's no recruiting anymore. You just have to make sure they're passing, and they can play. But that's
correct. And so now you have to choose a pool of players, and maybe they're not the players that you want. Everyone wants the best soccer players in the country. You're not going to get the best soccer players in the country. Like, at least I'm not.
No. I mean, you started off by saying, hey, this is Randall. It might not be for you.
It might not be for you, you know. But if it is, we'll work together. Yeah. And so for me, junior colleges are big because those players can transfer over into Randell University. So just trying to reach out to those coaches.
Because there's a different type of players. That's one thing Cesar was bringing up at the coaches meeting is like, a lot of people don't see the benefit in going to JUCOs.
Absolutely. I mean, if the opportunities – I mean, try to recruit any player. But if there's a junior college player – there's pros and cons. But if the opportunity is there for you to go play collegiately for the next 2 years, get your grades start over.
Yeah.
They start fresh. You get really good academically. You're playing a lot of minutes at the junior college level. You want to keep playing, some four-year school is going to find you.
Yeah,
you know, if you want to keep playing, and now you work different scholarships because scholarships work differently now for transfers, junior college transfers than they do high school college freshmen coming in from high school. So if you can play at the next level and it can be at a junior college level, by all means, take the opportunity to do that.
And then from the coach's point of view, recruiting a high school player as opposed to a person that played at a JUCO player has already proven that they can go to classes.
Yeah.
They can pass classes. They've played, so they kind of already know what they're getting themselves into as opposed to you get a high school kid, and those transitions are tough.
Very tough, very tough. I mean, we've had, players, unfortunately, when we started 14, some dropped out, just because they weren't, they didn't know what the college game fully consisted of, and that happens to a lot of colleges. But like you said, I think is a perfect, like junior college players go through the grind, and so whatever 4 year they're gonna finish at, and be like, junior college has prepared me for good or worse what I had to do for my soccer career, absolutely. And so those junior colleges are big for me because they can transfer in. Cesar has sent me his information for his players, so I'm reaching out, trying to recruit them as well. And then for other different 4-year schools, Coach Josh Smith at Southern Nazarene does a really good job of inviting other coaches to. He has like ID camps, big old ID camps. Hey, coach, can I come? And I get to pick his brain. But there's coach like OSU assistant coach, Oklahoma State, comes to his events, and then like Kansas, Texas college coaches all come, and so I've been able to pick Josh's brain. I've been able to pick these coaches' brain. I've been able to work ID camps. Coach Amel, that's taken over for Coach Cook at University of Central Oklahoma, UCO. Just trying to pick their brains. How do you recruit? What do you do? I know my way is a little different because, not limitations, but different ways on how to give scholarships. But pick their brain and see how they do. See what they do. See how they do it. See, how far do you go into recruiting? Last summer I went to Oral Roberts University to work an ID camp, and I was able to pick Coach Wes's brain. He was the assistant coach at Oral Roberts University for the women's side, but now he's the head women's coach at Pittsburgh State University.
Crazy.
And so like whatever I can learn, I'd like,
just
feed
absorb
me.
it. Just
feed me.
Put
yeah.
it in my brain.
Put it in my brain. And so, but Coach Juan Castillo at SCU, has reached out to me.
Great guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And for these coaches to either reach out or give me information that goes out of their way or out of their time, there's no, I expect this back from you. No expectations. As a first-year college coach, I'm extremely grateful and humble. for them to do that for me, and they don't know me either.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they just know I'm at Randell University. I've coached high school before, and I'm an Oklahoma native, and so that's what I do when I go out recruiting. Try to find coaches as well, if I'm and just pick their brains until I can't take anymore.
Dude, shout out to you, man. I think the one thing I like about you is how you're willing to put yourself in these positions to learn. Like, you have no other option but to learn. Like,
Never.
You did the same thing whenever you did a little bit of college soccer, and then you're just like, what else? Well, I like it. I'm going to try it. And you just threw yourself at coaching. And then this happened, and then how it ended up happening, and you're just like, well, now I'm just going to bite the bullet, and there's no other option for me but to learn. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, it makes me curious as to what you might do once you feel grounded and, like, what you're doing at college level. What the hell is Byron going to do once he gets bored?
A different challenge.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what kind of challenge are you going to throw yourself?
Absolutely. I don't know. I don't know what's next for me. I don't know. My wife doesn't know what's next for me. She's like, oh my gosh.
That's a tip. I hate it when my wife says, what are you going to do next? And you're just like, I don't know. Well, how do you not know?
Yeah, how do you not know? And so I said I'm humble, and but I'm also confident. Like, once I figure this thing out, like,
I better watch out.
Better watch out.
Better watch out, because Randall's coming for that national championship.
Trying to, and even then, like, if I end up going to junior college, whether assistant or head coach, or if I go to D2 or like
D1,
or D1, I've worked Oklahoma State camps. Coach Carmichael, these guys are so open, and so with them being so open and teaching me how to just do some things or ideas, and like, okay, well, just give me time, and you better watch out, because I promise you I'm gonna do the best that I can to make sure that we don't fail, and a little bit is ego. Like, I'm not gonna lie,
you have to have some ego.
I want to be the best in whatever I'm doing. I might not ever win a state championship or a championship,
but you definitely won't win it if you don't have ego.
You have to have a little bit of confidence, and I'm confident that I can learn anything. And so with that being said, though, if I'm confident in that, I know that I'm going to serve my girls to be the best that they can be, and to make sure that I take care of them, because I'm so confident that I'm willing to do whatever it takes legally to make sure that my girls are in the best position to succeed now, really, on and off the field, like in their careers, not going into college, going into your career, and then staying on the field as well. So, man, I'm getting myself hyped, so I need to calm down.
Yeah, to turn it down. Well, last question. How did you break it to your high school team?
Yeah, that was
the decision. Because I'm sure they might not have been happy to hear it, but also
some were thrilled, I'm sure.
Some were excited, that you're taking a new challenge. But like, the way you spoke about your team in the last podcast and how you handled that team, it was more than a team for you. So how did you let that family of yours know that?
So we lost Norman North 8-1. It was like the worst showing for my last game. You don't get a Cinderella story sometimes,
It's playoffs, though, man.
It's playoffs. It is. And we were so hyped for that game. We were singing the bus. Like, maybe that was wrong, but I was singing the bus. Like, I knew this might be my last game coaching.
Did they know?
Some did, not all of them, but some did. Just and talking and whatnot, and the internet. And so we're driving to Norman. And so, we passed Randall, and, their girls are...
How ironic is that, dude?
The girls are literally cheering, like, just yelling, like, oh, there's Randall, and so, and we sang on the bus. We were loose, maybe I should have taken it more serious, but I say these things because I was really soaking in
that moment,
this moment with this team that I've given my heart and soul for the last 3 years. And then we played, and we lost 8-1. We lost to Norman North, really good team. And then I made a post like on Instagram, just like I gave you girls everything, and I know you girls did too, whether it be for me or for yourself or for your teammates. And then, I just let them know. We just set up a team meeting. My assistant coach then is now the head women's coach there, and she's just going to do a phenomenal job. But I told them, like, hey, due to my baby and time that Randall has given me, I'm going to take my college job. And I appreciate every single moment that I've had with you girls. And now your new head coach, is Rochelle Lau, and she's an Edmond Memorial alumni. And so for her to take that job, it's
might have been meant to be,
Meant to be. It's a dream, I know it's a dream job for her, and I'm truly excited to see, what she does with that program. She'll do things different than I did, but I know she's doing everything that she can, just like I did, to the best intentions for that team. And so that was really the hardest part, was like maybe later on knowing I wasn't going to go back. But I knew I had so much work ahead of me at Randell University that now I can go back to Edmond. I was just at Edmond Memorial for a few player signings. I missed the soccer, but like I have so much work to do at Randell University. Like, yeah, I miss it. But
I feel like you don't even have time to sit and contemplate about it. Like,
I got work to do.
Yeah,
I got work to do. So now I'm gonna give my heart and soul, to Randell University, and I just can't wait to see where that goes.
I think they're lucky to have you, man.
No,
You
I
and
appreciate
Mario.
it.
Hopefully I get to sit down with Mario and talk to that guy soon.
Yeah, he's.
Let him know I was busting his balls on the podcast. Even though we've said nice things about you, Mario, I'm just busting your balls.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm excited to hear what Mario has to say about Randell University on the men's side. And I think his job was a little bit harder because he took in a team that went to nationals. Unfortunately, they didn't make it back to nationals.
They've won it a few times as well.
Yeah, they've won it a few times as well. And so for him to take that job, understanding
the history
and all that, and it's not life or death, it's just soccer.
But it can be.
It can be, as we talked last time. But for these adults, hey, I'm giving you money, I'm giving you my time, I'm sacrificing my body, and so we want to make sure that these players understand, well, so are we, and that we want to put you in the best position to succeed. And so I know Mario's taking that into heart, like
no other.
Like no other, and I mean he's wanting to go back to national championship and win it, which Randall will look a little bit different than it has before, but you can kind of put his stamp on it, and so definitely. Well, I'm excited to see what he does with that as well. So
nice. Well,
it's a lot of talking, bro. I talked a lot, but I appreciate your time.
That was good. I mean, and I enjoy you coming in, sharing some of the Randall information, because a lot of people, like I said, they aren't aware of that school or the ability that you can go play there, because, some people run into the situations where they want to keep playing college ball, but they're running out of options. And for a lot of players, Randall is that last option.
Yeah, it can be, absolutely. And the good thing about Randall is, like, what you're going to get into. So we offer visits. We do chapel. There's just some Christian environment things that we do, or classes that we have. But every player that goes into it from here on out knows exactly what they're getting into, so they're not surprised. Like, oh, coach didn't tell me we had chapel or whatever, But recruits visiting, hey, this is just what we do and what we are, and so, but that option is there, and we're the National Collegiate Christian Athletic Association. So we don't have NAIA, we don't have NCAA. That's just the conference that we're in. MACU's in it, but they're also in NAIA. Southwestern Christian University is also in it, but they're also NAIA. We just compete in that. And so that's something that people have never really heard of. Like, what is that? And so, well, these are the Christian schools that compete within this conference.
It's like a different branch.
Yeah.
It's within this. It's a conference within a conference, but after everything is said and done with the regular season, this is like when college teams play for whatever bowl they play for at the end of the year.
Exactly. And that's our playoff. Like, we'll play for this National Christian Collegiate Athletic Association, or National collegiate Christian. I'm still learning.
NCCAA.
And yeah,
maybe.
That's it. No, NCCAA. There's Division 1. We're Division 2.
Mm-hmm.
And so, again, like, we try to tell everybody, like, this is what we are. What is that? We compete within these Christian schools, and then we have our playoffs at the end, But our schedule is very open to playing whoever. So we played NAIA schools. We played D3 schools from different states. We play JUCO schools as well. So that's really cool that we get to set up our own schedule, and then we finally play our region games. But if adults don't know this, kids don't know this, And so I'm here, like, just kind of promoting Randell University, and, like, it's another school that you could possibly play at, and we're open to anybody, whoever, from all different backgrounds. Our teams are so diverse. The coaches, we feel like we're diverse, And so if Randall may not be the right fit for you, but it could be a fit, And so they can reach out, social media. We have Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all those things, emails. And so we just, if there's interest, we would love to see what fit we can be for you. So
nice.
I had to put in the plug. So.
Yeah. Well, let's hit the outro music and then call it a day, man. Hey, thank you for coming by,
Appreciate you. Thank you.